But you know, another of the consequences when you talk about you use the word disassociation. The sexual revolution produces a rupture of the connection between love and sex.
Yeah.
But somebody can say to you, well, it's in this. It seems for you. It seems, at least in the novel, in my reading, it seems that is seen in a negative light. Kind of the rupture, the loss of something. It can be seen as somebody can accuse you of being too nostalgic, of saying, what happened? Was before a better time than now that there is this rupture and that you can have sex without having the feelings involved?
It's certainly not. You know, the sexual revolution was a great and inevitable and empowering thing. But like all revolutions, there were casualties. The title, The Pregnant Widow, refers to a marvelous paragraph written by the Russian thinker Alexander Herzen. And it says that normally, and he's talking about revolutions, social and political, but he says the dying of the old order, the old regime, and its replacement by a new regime should make the soul rejoice. He says, yet what is frightening is that the departing world leaves behind it not a son or a daughter or an heir, an inheritor, not that, but a pregnant widow. The father is dead, but the child is not yet born. And he says, and between the death of the father and the birth of the child, much water will flow by, much chaos and desolation will need to pass. A revolution is not over once everyone agrees it's a good idea. It lingers in the mind. All those inherited propositions, as for example, you save yourself for your husband. The husband waits for a good girl who hasn't had any other men, and so on. That doesn't disappear overnight. That lingers in the mind, and also you always have unforeseen consequences. What Edmundo was talking about, it's said that in the 17th century, a dissociation of sensibility took place, where the poets, taking the poets as the test case, and there were no novels then, except on Quixote, the poets used to be able to think and feel at the same time. Poets like Shakespeare and Donne, Marvel, and others could write brainily about women and love, while thinking and feeling at the same time. Then this dissociation took place. Now, it seems to me obvious that a similar dissociation took place during the sexual revolution, that love and sex didn't separate entirely, but they bifurcated. They went, you know, the avenues. I talked about multiple possibilities, but one of the possibilities was certainly the dissociation of love and sex. And this has got, I think, slightly out of control. And if you want to know the real meaning of pornography, it is the utter dissociation of love and sex, the banishment of love from the sexual arena. That's what pornography is. And I used to think until quite recently that women would always resist pornography, because in pornography, the idea that the sexual act produces children is banished. There are no pregnancies in pornography. There's no talk of children in pornography. Children do not exist in pornography. And I always thought the women would resist it for that reason, that the sexual act is a very weird thing in that it is indescribable. Literature's got nowhere with it in centuries. No one's written well about sex, in my view. In fact, it's incommunicable. It's like dreams. They're too personal, too quirky, and the novel is a universalist form. But you see what has happened now that I always thought women would resist it because the sexual act is the act that peoples the world. That's the other very odd thing about it. Indescribable, and yet it's how the species continues, how it procreates. But now it seems that women have partly accepted pornography and come to enjoy it. And if this is true, then this is an enormous social change. And let's not deceive ourselves. Our children get their sexual education not primarily from the school teacher, not from the biology class, where they dissect a worm and learn the difference between female and male genitalia. They get it in high definition on the internet. And no one knows, no one has any idea what the human consequences of that will be.